Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your host, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. Today's guest is a counselor, a consultant, shall I say, a therapist and an author. And she is really a counselor to a lot of us out here in these streets. She's a licensed clinical medical health counselor in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Florida. I will be able to speak today. Welcome, Miss Revella Nesbit. How you doing?
I am doing well. Glad to be here.
Listen, I am today. I don't know what it is. I am freezing for one thing. Where are you located?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah.
I am also in North Carolina, and I am so cold today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's the weather. It's so unpredictable. I would say it's not cold here. It's nice. It's a nice fall weather, but it's not cold.
Right. It's just me. That's what you're trying to say.
Well,
Okay, I appreciate you. Okay, then fine.
I'm just saying here it's not cold.
In your house.
Right here.
Revel, you are so amazing. I am so honored that you took some time out today and talked to us because we were both recognized as one of the 50 most dynamic women in Charlotte, and I did not get to meet you on that day. So I am so, again, honored to come on and let the people know all about you. Let's start off, first of all, tell them who you are.
So I am I like to say like a life changer, life giver, person who is focused on mental wellness and mental health, that's made a life and a career of that. Professionally, I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor. I'm a consultant. I'm also author. I wrote my first book in 2020, published it in 2020. Hope Changes Everything.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I
Yeah.
definitely want to go in about that. Since you said that, can we talk about the book a little bit?
Sure.
Because I love it. When you go and look it up, it says life can be pretty difficult and challenging, but there's always hope for you.
Yeah.
That is so powerful and profound. And when you are so disturbed or have so much trauma and in the world we're in today and all this stuff that's so unknowing, just that simple phrase.
Yeah. One of the things is that people often lose hope. And to me, hope is that possibility that there is something that still exists that can be different. And imagine like when you lose the hope or the possibility or the expectation that something can be different, oftentimes people feel distressed and in just a dire place. And so I particularly focus on hope because it's not always that we can have experiences in life, but it doesn't have to be where that experience, if that experience was not the greatest, has to be the end, right? I believe in failing forward. You learn from your experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, and you take what you've learned and you use it to propel yourself forward. And so to me, hope coincides with that because it gives you that opportunity and that possibility that things can be different. I can't imagine living a life without some level of hope.
You know, it's so funny that you said that because I was young and can y'all believe I used to be young? Ha! No. Uh, when I was young, I really didn't like the word hope.
Mm,
Hope this happens. I hope
mhm,
this. And I was like, I heard it so much, I got like, I'm so sick of the word hope, man. Like,
mm.
but
Yeah, yeah,
the older I got, I realized that hope is necessary
right.
in
Mhm.
order to keep you going to get the things that you desire.
Right, 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 right. Now, I will quickly say that, it's like faith without works is dead. You can't just hope that something's going to happen and you're going to sit there and do nothing. Hope is not, hope doesn't work that way.
Right.
You
And
know,
that's what I kept
mm,
thinking, like
right.
what you doing?
Right, right. What are you doing as a result of it? We can hope all day long,
Right,
but there's action that's required, in hope. There's some level of awareness of where you are to get to where you're gonna and want to be. You can't just, it's not magic.
right,
It is not magic. It's not like, we're gonna just hope this is gonna happen and sit here and do absolutely nothing. It doesn't work that way. There's
right.
work.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, hope plus works.
Yes.
That's how it works. And in everything in life, you got to just make sure that you are willing to put in the effort to the thing
Mm-hmm.
that you are hoping for, right?
Right, 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 right. Exactly, exactly. And I think with hope, it has to also line up with your purpose. Like I can hope to be an athlete, but I don't have the skills necessary to be an athlete, right? Like allow it to line up with what is part of your purpose and what you're here for. Don't, let's be realistic.
Let's be
As
real.
we yes, as we hope for things, as we expect things, let's be realistic in what our capacity is and what our purpose is in this life. I can hope that um and have a desire, I want to be an accountant. That's not my jam, that's not my thing.
Right.
And so the chances of that coming to fruition is very limited and very little. And I can say, oh, I hope, I hope, I hope all day long. So there are a lot of different pieces that that fold into hope. And so that's what the book talks about. It really starts with a journey that I was on in 2011 when my husband died unexpectedly. And I needed something to hold on to. And so that's when this, probably 30 days, 45 days after he passed, that's when this whole idea of hope for me was born. And I really saw it in a different way. And it took me a couple years to get the book finished because he died in 2011. I did not publish the book until 2020. So it took me a little bit of time. But that was the impetus for the book. And in the book, I talk about just some different strategies, and really to be able to use hope in a most positive way in your life.
And not only is it the name of your book, but that's also the name of your company, right?
The name of my company is Hope Matters. Yeah, so I do keep this whole theme, right? So the
Yeah.
book the book is Hope Changes Everything. The name of my company is Hope Matters. And the I also have a nonprofit that's called Hope Matters to Me. So yeah, I do sort of keep this whole theme around hope.
Keep hope alive. Keep
I'm
hope
keeping hope
alive.
alive. I'm absolutely keep hope alive. Yes, I am.
Now let's talk about this, if you don't mind. I
Mhm,
wanted to go back to a little bit of what you shared about how when your husband passed away. Uh,
mhm.
you said suddenly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. He died suddenly. And when I say suddenly, it was a Sunday morning. Um, and he was struggling. I woke, well, actually, he woke up, and he was struggling. He was making some noises that I did not recognize. And I looked over and I noticed that he was struggling to breathe. And I would say from that point until the time he died was less than an hour, if that, maybe 30, 45 minutes by the time the paramedics and police and everybody arrived to work on him, to try to revive him. He had passed. And at that point, there was no indication of really what had happened to
Mm.
him. He had not had any significant prior medical issues, or anything such as that. But then we later learned, through an autopsy, that he had a heart attack. And so, literally, within moments' time, my life had shifted and changed. And this was January 2nd, 2011. So you're starting a new year. At the time, my daughter was 8 years old. Um, and, in a blink of an eye, everything shifted for me.
You
And
know,
so that's a
thank
lot.
you so much for sharing that with us today, because now your whole theme of hope
Mm-hmm,
has so much more meaning,
mm-hmm,
than the general, everybody hope, hope, hope.
mm-hmm,
So let me ask you this. Was that around the time, like you said, you started your book?
mm-hmm,
And when you were going through your loss and your grief
mm-hmm,
and all of this, you were able to keep hope.
mm-hmm.
And how can you share with us some of the techniques to use when we are feeling grief or lost or just down, like it's just not going our way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There were so many different things that I did. In the book, there's an acronym that HOPE stands for. It's hang in there, opportunity for change, a posture of gratitude, and expect the unexpected. And so I anchored myself in all of those different things. First of all, I just needed to hang in there. I needed to, as they say, tie a knot and just hold on. Like I needed to survive. So I needed to do whatever I needed to do in that moment at that time to be able to survive from day to day to day to day. So sometimes it is about survival. Sometimes it's about only thing I have is today, and I'm going to make it through the next couple hours. I'm going to make it through the end of the day, and tomorrow is a new day, and I'm going to start again. So literally, it is hanging in there and continuing to push forward, but taking it one day, one moment, 1 second at a time. And then I saw this as an opportunity for change, meaning that I had been married for 15 years, had known my husband 5 years before I got married. So at that point, half of my life was in a relationship with this person who was no longer a part of my life. So I was no longer a wife. I was always still a mother, but I was no longer a wife, and I wasn't able to define myself in that capacity anymore. So I had to really think about, who am I? Because sometimes we tie ourselves to titles, and that begins to really define us. So it really was this journey of really thinking about, who am I? And what then is my point, my purpose to this part of my life? Because now I'm a single mother. I've got to define some things. My daughter, who's 8 years old, is looking at me and saying, okay, mama, it's me and you, what you gonna do? So I'm like, I've got to look at this as an opportunity, to see what's working and what's not working, and take those things that are working and build on that. And then there was this posture of gratitude. We can really get to a place in which we can be woe is me. Like, oh, look what happened to me. And be in this victim mentality. And that was something that I refused to be a part of. I was not going to be a victim. Yes, there was something that happened to me that was unfortunate, and I am thrust in a whole new life and lifestyle and way that I look at and operate in life. But I also have to be in a place of gratitude. And so I really started thinking about, you know, all the wonderful things and experiences that we had, all the growth that I had being a wife. Um, and I just really, whenever I was feeling, especially sad, I really had to shift my thinking to be more grateful for the time that I did have. And so instead of focusing on the loss, I focused on the blessing and the gift that I did have and the things I learned and experiences that I had. So gratitude has been proven to really move us in a space out of despair, and really keep us in a place of hopeful expectation. And the last one is expect the unexpected. Now, having a loss that was so unexpected, I now needed to position myself that life wasn't always going to be predictable. I wasn't going to be able to determine what was going to happen moment by moment. That's not reality. And this proved that that was not reality, right? Because this was the most unexpected thing that I could expect. And so I really had to turn to really posturing myself to be, to be flexible, to not be so rigid that I had to be in control of everything, because this proved that I was not in control of nothing, nada, nothing at all.
Right.
So I had to prepare myself for the unexpected and know that I was going to be all right, no matter what that unexpected piece was. And then on top of all of that and intertwined in all of that was my faith. I also leaned very heavily into my faith, and I had friends and family who supported me. And so you can't be afraid to step out and ask people for help. There were people who kind of bulldozed in my life. I didn't ask. And I loved it because they knew I needed it. I remember a time when one of my friends, she called me up, and I'd taken 6 weeks off from work, and I was just kind of sitting there looking out the window, and she called me that morning and she said, "Get up, we getting out the house today." And we did. And that was what I needed. And so there were different people in my life who played different roles. I wasn't afraid to ask for help. And I
And
needed help. What's that?
that's very important.
It is very important. And so sometimes we got to put our pride aside, and be able to ask, people for help. And there are different types of help. I needed someone to pick my daughter up from school on certain days, because that changed my whole rhythm of who picked her up, and and my schedule. So there were things I needed for that. And so literally it was a moment by moment, day by day. And I just believe God sent me the people that I needed, during that time. So I'm grateful for that.
I am so in awe of you because of the fact that you say life can be quite unpredictable, to say the least. The way you say it is like, wow, like that is beyond unpredictable, right? Like I mean, expect the unexpected, but that was a little more than I even expected to unexpect, right?
Right. Exactly. And different things hit different people differently, right? You
Right.
know, so yeah, it threw me. It definitely was a hugely unexpected event. Totally changed the remainder of my life. So
Trajectory. feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would think so as well. But before we get any deeper, I want to make sure people know how to reach out to you. How
Mhm.
can they stay connected?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Hope Matters PLLC. So you can connect with me there. You can connect with me on my website, which is www.hopematters, that's with an S, PLLC .com as well.
Good, good. Because I want to really dig deep in this whole thing about hope because
Mhm,
mental issues are very often overlooked,
mhm,
often shift the blame, oh well, so and so, he got issues, so it's okay, right? We don't have to take accountability. And I'm gonna use my family as an example. I'm gonna use my sister. Yeah, I'm saying it. My sister is out of her, like, listen, she's a different sister. Like my friends, my kids say, she not as mean as you seen. She a whole different person than what she was. But when she was young, she was very flippant and very she would say what she wanted to say and didn't care how it hurt anybody's feelings.
mhm,
Right? She would just say whatever she wanted to say. And I would be like, no, right?
mhm,
I was the baby. So, I'm gonna be the most vocal. She was the middle girl. And everybody kept saying, well, you just know how she is. Yeah, but that's not excusable for me. Like, we know how she is, get help.
mhm.
Like, you
Right,
know,
right.
just get help. You could tone that down a little bit. And now, of course, she is not like that because she did realize, whoa, maybe I am coming across too hard or too aggressive to people just looking at you. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
So let me ask you, when people are afraid or feeling as though the problem is you, but you seem to be the equal in
mhm,
all the situations,
mhm.
how do you go about one, knowing that it is you? Is it any kind of questions you could say, like, remember that old saying that if you don't know the village idiot,
Mhm.
it might be you?
You. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, first of all, I would say gently.
Gently.
Very, very, I would say gently. Because everybody's not ready to hear that they might be that person. Um, and so I usually will spend some time just kind of getting to know a person, getting to know like their, sort of their thought process. One of the questions that I often ask is, especially if there's someone specifically that they are close to, I might say, well, what do they say about the issue? What are their thoughts? What are their opinions? And then that brings and opens up the conversation. And then I may ask some other reflective type questions, about are you pleased with, if there's a certain type of behavior or something, are you pleased, with that? Typically people have some level of insight. It may be really small, but they have some level of insight. And it's usually like working with that bit of insight that they have. I often also ask them, like adjectives that they use to describe themselves, adjectives that other people use to describe themselves, and then adjectives that, that are aspirational for you.
Oh,
Uh,
let's pause right there, right there, right there. These are things that you can ask yourself.
mhm, mhm. You
And
can.
yeah, I really, really like that. So can you say those questions again?
So, aspirations are things adjectives that you describe yourself. What was the other? That others describe you, and then those adjectives that are aspirational for you. So, you describing yourself, others describe you, and that those adjectives that are aspirational.
Oh,
And usually, and if I have someone in my office, I usually put it like on a flip chart, and like put columns, because I also think that people, I'm visual, and that sometimes it's an assumption that everybody's visual. But I think when you're having a conversation with folks, it's good to be able to put things on paper for them to be able to see, because it brings a certain level of reality to it. Because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to see it. And
yeah,
so I like to be able to put it up, to be able to see it. And sometimes I'll just say, just reflect on, just look at it.
right.
What comes up for you? What do you notice? What do you don't notice?
Right.
And
That's so great because I got to tell you this. I have a description of myself that nobody else has. And I think it's hilarious that you just say that. 'Cause I always say, "Oh, I am so sweet." And
what people they don't say that? I can't imagine. You are sweet.
you feeling like I'm feeling. I said the same thing. My husband says I have met everybody in your family, and sweet is never came up anywhere. So I'm going to use this exercise on myself because that is so real. When you said that, it kind of hit me like
Like,
boom, right on my forehead. And I know y'all thinking the same things. There's some things that y'all
yeah.
describe yourself as that nobody else do.
Yeah, but that is so true. You're so right. Because we often have a view of ourselves, which may or may not be what other people and how other people see us. But that's important to be able to know, because we may be assuming we're showing up in one way, and we're not.
When not.
And that's like, and you got to be prepared for that, because like like, were you prepared when you heard that from your husband, that like,
But
what
it,
do you mean I'm not sweet?
but yes, yes, because like you said earlier, everybody has a chance to be self-aware.
Just a little, at least a little.
Yeah, I knew that, but it was so funny how I always say, I'm so sweet, I'm so sweet. And everybody,
I love it. I love it.
so I think it's so great for you to come on. And like I said before, this has been great. You have given us so much information. I admire your faith. I admire your strength, and I admire what you're doing for others. So thank you again for coming on. But you're not leaving here without me asking.
Okay.
I know you're great at taking care of other people and doing all this thing, but we all misfit one. And I really believe we should live fit.
Mm-hmm.
Focus plus intentions
Mm-hmm.
equals transformation. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that, which is exactly what you have done with your life, by the way, which is amazeballs. Uh, but can you tell me, how do you start your morning? How does your self-care, and what does your self-care look like?
So that's like two questions
Two
for me.
questions.
So my morning actually starts in silence. I do not turn the TV on. I don't turn the my phone, or anything. I start my morning in complete silence. And this is different for me. 2 years ago, or even a year ago, it would be Good Morning America on the TV, as soon as I wake up. I don't do that. I really start my morning in silence, really in um, a place of gratitude and thankfulness. I start my morning off in prayer and meditation. And that sometimes even extends throughout the rest of the day, because I rarely turn my television on. I'm finding that the more I focus on me, the less external noise, if you will. that I need. So that for me is very important. My overall self-care routine, I am very big on vacations and really taking time away. And I realize that's not always, I can't do that. I wish I could do that all the time, but I can't do it all the time. But in that, I have time that I sit outside on my deck or my front porch and literally, again, in silence. I do a lot of reading, listen to a lot of music. Um, I color. I do adult coloring books,
Yes.
which is going to be a part of a self-care toolkit that I will be debuting called Nourish My Soul. Um, and I like my candles, I color. Today I woke up. It's interesting you asked this, Elizabeth, because today I woke up and I was like, I'm feeling like I need something more today. And I was thinking, well, I can't like ride down to the beach because I don't have time, over the next several days. So I'm actually later today, after the end of my workday, I'm going to go to the lake and just spend some quiet time at the lake. So that's what I do.
I I love it. Thank you for sharing that with us because um it says a lot about who you are and being able to be in silence shows that you have peace within. And so a lot of times people need to have distractions to distract them from their inner gremlin, shall we say?
Mhm. Yes.
That's talking and talking.
Yes.
So thank you again. And before I wrap it up, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to say anything that I didn't get to ask or leave us with any words of wisdom.
You know, I think the words of wisdom I would say is to really take time to take care of yourself.
Mm,
I was thinking, like for me, quiet time is important. But quiet time looks different for different people. So
mm,
I would say find your jam, find your space, find whatever works for you. Maybe is, doing a particular activity, or some people might like driving, being in the car by themselves. That may be very relaxing for them. Lake time, other sports or different things, but whatever, walking, whatever it is, find what works for you and make it a priority for yourself. So that's what I would say.
You guys heard it. That's it. I go with that with all my heart. So listen, you guys, it's your girl, Elizabeth Colin, and I want you to live fit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. Listen, when you are fed up and sick and tired of living this stifled, overwhelmed, and overstressed life, and you're ready to live the fullest, richest, and healthiest life by gaining more confidence, more energy, and more clarity, living in your best self, you know what to do, right? Go ahead, go to my website, misfit1.com. Sign up for our online courses, Creating Healthy Habit, so that you too can live fit, focus, move with intention, and transform your life.